right now, they've come all the way from Little Rock, and I want to introduce you to Grady Spann and Zach Foster with Arkansas Parks and Tourism.
Well, it's our pleasure to be here today. This is exciting. A little bit about Danny Dozier. I've known Danny for a little while. I make my home up in Mountain View, which is just a few miles from here. Ran the Folk Center for 8 years and listened to a lot of Danny's music. I've never can play like Danny, like nobody else in this room can probably. But Danny, we're going to be here tomorrow night for that concert. That's for sure. And the catfish is not a bad idea either. But Danny's been a good friend. And what I saw this morning, I've been seeing pictures along the way of the construction. And Zach sent me some pictures last week and said, Zach, how are we doing on this thing? Because we're going up there, it was supposed to be Saturday, but now it's today. And he said, well, let me send you some pictures. So it was all construction. I thought, wow, it's not done yet. When I showed up this morning and saw how impressive this park is, and Danny is right, the park is full of culture. It's full of culture of material that really tell the story of Batesville. And that's what impressed me more than anything, is that you can walk through the park and just imagine the stories that must be behind the brick and the wood and the saws and all the different things that Danny's recycled. And what a great thing for sustainability to use what was in the past for the future and for future generations. But let me give you some statistics about the city of Batesville and grants. So the city of Batesville has received 21 matching grants through our department over the years. Since 1968, for a total amount of $1.1 million in matching funds. So basically, we gave you 1.1 million, and then you had to match it 1.1 million. That's great. I'm so glad that this city is actively pursuing these grants. And Batesville was awarded this grant in 2018, like Danny said, for the amount of $132,918. That means the total project cost was $265,000. That's a nice project, and wow, it's just so impressive to show up here and see what you've done. So the funding was split between two parks in Batesville, Riverside Park and Maxfield Park. Riverside Park used the funds to remove dilapidated playground equipment and replace it with a jungle gym, styled after a steamboat. Again, telling your story, telling the story of the city, telling the story of the White River, which I think is significant. Maxfield Park used the funds to repair the retaining walls of the historic Maxfield House, as Danny has described, install accessible parking and sidewalks, and develop the footprint and plumbing of the park's restroom. And I can't say enough how impressed I am with the work that this community has done to support this project, and to see, I'm just looking forward to seeing pictures through social media and other places on children and people just enjoying another space to get out and just take in the history of Batesville, the significant history of Batesville, but also to take in just the outside and nature. And so I appreciate the work you've done. You make Arkansas proud with the work that you do from our perspective. And so I'll go back to Little Rock, although I'm not going back there today. I'm going home to Mountain View. But when I go back to Little Rock, I will definitely be telling a lot of people that Batesville's got a lot going on, and you need to make this a destination, just like many other places in Arkansas. But Batesville is someplace that we need to put on a list to make sure we tell visitors to come and visit on a regular basis. Zach Foster is our grant planner for this area, and so I'm going to turn it over to Zach. He's been more involved in this than I have, and I think he and Danny have made a pretty good friendship over this past couple of years.
It's not every day that I get to help build a park from scratch. So as a project officer with the grant program, a lot of times we go and visit existing parks, and I get to come in, and a lot of times I'll meet with Mary Ellenbaugh and Jeff Owens, the Parks Director, and see what can we do to make this park safer, more exciting, fun, unique, but it's always building on something that's already there. Whenever I was only maybe 6 months into this job, my new boss, Grady Spann, came down and said, hey, I've got a friend that's got a project, you should give him a call. And of course, I said, yes, sir, and called him right away. And so I got to talking to Danny and realized this was not just another project. You've seen how Danny's brought together different people of the community that has been able to represent what Batesville can do as a community, and also put those materials into a park as a living representation of the city's history and importance. And that's not something that I get to do every day. So being able to work with Danny and with these other experts that have been on this job have been so incredible and such a great experience. So it's whenever we get to look at just the design details that go in here, it's been able to replicate something that's not seen in these existing parks. So when I first came up here, all that was built at the time was just the stage area and some grass, and Danny had his storage shed built and the waterfall. And so I spent 5 years in the School of Architecture at Fayetteville learning how to do design. And Danny had done this on his own. And I was up there like so impressed that he had already done that. So right away I knew that I could talk with him on a level that we could see future planning, and we could talk about different ideas. And whenever we were first meeting, he wanted to build something, I believe it was like a swing set and a jungle gym or something inside of that Maxfield Park homestead area. And I said, Danny, what did you play on when you were a kid? He was like, well, I kind of pointed down to the ravine and said, I played out here in the woods and climbed on things. I said, do you think kids would still want to do that today? And he said, yeah. And I said, come on down, like next time you're in Little Rock, let's go to Riverside Park, or Riverfront Park, and they have a great like exploring like type playground out there. And he came down and we spent the day walking around, and we looked at ideas, tunnels, things to climb on, hills to roll down, things to run up. And I said, wouldn't it be cool if we could do this in Batesville as well? And so with Danny's willpower, really I just planted the seeds. Danny was able to really find the people and the materials to get this done. So I'm just so thankful that we were able to come together and partner with this, that we were able to explore the ideas and also help give funding to make sure that this is not just a project that is well built, but it's sustainable and representative of the community. So thank you very much for having us out here today. Thanks, Danny.